morning and welcome to another edition of Moneyline with Nancy. I am Nancy Naji. Half of 2026 is now behind us, and the critical question is Nigeria's economic recovery gaining real momentum, or are the biggest challenges still ahead? This morning, I'll be taking a stock of the economy from growth, inflation, interest rates, the exchange rates, capital flows, equity markets, and the outlook for the second half of the year. We'll also be examining the central bank's decision to revoke the licenses of 46 microfinance banks. In just one statement, it did that yesterday. A move, the bank says, it's aimed at strengthening the soundness of the financial system. And we will discuss the World Bank's approval of a new $1.25 billion financing package for Nigeria, despite public concerns over the country's rising debt profile. The facility is set to be designed to support job creation, private investment, energy, digital infrastructure, and agriculture under the new 2026 to 2032 country partnership framework. And joining me to discuss all of this is Johnson Chukwu, the Group Managing Director, as well as the Chief Executive Officer of Carry Assets Management Limited, to help us make sense of the numbers, the policies, and what they mean for every one of us. That's investors, businesses, and everyday Nigerians. And if you miss the broadcast by any means, you're not watching this, or even if you're watching this and you want to watch again, that you are nocturnal. It's also the World Cup season, you know. You can watch the repeat broadcast of this at 1 a.m. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. On YouTube, we are Moneyline with Nancy TV. So subscribe to our YouTube channel where we continue the conversation beyond the screen. All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty of today's program. We'll begin with the news now by telling you that the Central Bank of Nigeria has revoked the operating licenses of 46 microfinance banks for failing to meet regulatory requirements. In a statement signed by its acting director of corporate communications, Hakama Sidi Ali, the CBN said the revocation took effect on July 1, 2026 as part of efforts to strengthen the financial system, protect depositors, and ensure compliance with banking regulations. The World Bank's Board of Executive Directors has approved the $1.25 billion development policy financing loan for Nigeria and endorsed a new 2026 to 2032 country partnership framework. Announcing the decision in a statement, the World Bank said the funding will support economic reforms, attract private investment, improve competitiveness, and create more sustainable jobs. Moving to the NNPC Limited now. Financial performance of the company took a hit in May 2026 as revenue fell nearly 13% to 4.34 trillion naira from 4.97 trillion naira in April, while profit after tax declined to 462 billion naira. The drop came despite this stable oil production of 1.73 million barrels per day and natural gas output of 7.77 billion standard cubic feet daily. The company says it continues to address operational bottlenecks, with upstream pipeline availability remaining strong at 98%. The International Monetary Fund says Nigeria has 8.83 trillion naira unreported government spending, equivalent to about 2% of GDP, warning that it distorts the country's true fiscal position. Speaking in Lagos, IMF resident representative in Nigeria, Christian Ebeke, urged greater fiscal transparency, saying fiscal disclosure of public expenditure is essential for sound economic policy making and investor confidence. According to the S&P Global June PMI reports, Nigeria's private sector maintained its growth momentum, with the Purchasing Managers Index easing to 53.4 from 54.1 in May. The report said improving customer demand boosted output, new orders, and hiring, while businesses remained optimistic despite rising input costs. Nigeria's insurance industry recorded a historic 2.3 trillion naira in gross premium income in 2025. The NIA, that's the Nigerian Insurance Association, has disclosed that the growth was driven by strong general insurance performance, as well as higher retention of oil and gas risk and rising demand for life insurance products. The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission and the National Pension Commission have recovered over 3 billion naira in unremitted pension contributions from defaulting employers. In a statement, PENCOM said the funds recovered from companies in the electricity sector have been credited to the retirement savings account of the affected workers. All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back after this break. Do stay. This is Moneyline with Nancy, and this is a program that sets your business day for you.
Inflation played a 9-1 on us, and the cost of doing business and the cost of living crisis persists. But we can win. We can win on those two things.
We need to work on our infrastructure, maintain what we have, and add new infrastructure. Isn't it interesting to you that it still costs less to ship something from China to Lagos than from Dakar to Nigeria?
Resilience is not only bouncing back when there is crisis or shocks. Resilience is about the ability to adapt, the ability to innovate, the ability to thrive in a VUCA world, which is basically a world that we have a lot of vulnerabilities, a world that we have a lot of uncertainty.
Thank you, Nancy. You've been doing a great job in trying to educate Nigerians, and we must appreciate you for that.
Everybody tells me you're the gold standard in this business, yeah.
Well, Nancy Naji, you're the best you can be. I'm good at change. We'll be bringing you excerpts from the CMAN, that's the Capital Market Academics Association of Nigeria, where at the forum, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Professor Taiwo Oyedele, gave a speech, and that speech was quite interesting, so I'll be bringing you excerpts of it. You will also be hearing from the DG of the Securities and Exchange Commission, as well as Professor Uche Waleke, who is the president of CMAN. And the interview, of course, with Mr. Johnson Chukwu is straight ahead. Mr. Johnson Chukwu is the Group Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer at Cowry Asset Management. Let's take a break, and when we return, we'll continue with the program. Welcome to Moneyline with Nancy. Of course, this is the trusted source for in-depth conversation on finance, the economy, and everything in between. I am Nancy Naji.
The Abuja Treaty foresees that we have to adopt as Africa a linear model of integration of our market. We foresee, in terms of the agreement, that Africa one day will be a customs union.
That's a great question, Nancy. So you have basically two pillars here. There are things that you must do now because you are in an emergency situation. You have to provide helping hands to those who cannot cope anymore. The extreme poor people who cannot really afford to have food on their table. There is no time to wait for the perfect plan for them. You need to provide support immediately for them.
If the world wants to be more resilient, they need to deconcentrate supply chains and locate them. And why not relocate them in those regions that didn't have them in the first place? If you want to build resilience, it's not concentrating them again in another country.
How can you move your goods from point A to point B and demand? So it's also us educating our businesses, advocacy, the courage to trade, the courage. Nigerians have it.
I am Nancy Naji. Be the best you can be, and be the change that you want to see.
Nigeria has survived everything, not because we are lucky, but because in the hardest moment, when the news breaks and the grief is wrong, someone somewhere makes a choice.
To confirm before spreading panic. To empathize rather than assign blame. To hold when everything inside said, poof.
For terrorism is not only the attack that sparks our outrage. Terrorism is also the choices that follow, the ones that feed division and erode the bonds of nationhood and patriotism that hold us together as Nigerians.
Let us choose to defeat terror, one division at a time. Take your post. Choose Nigeria.
Let's all unite against terror.
Allow me to begin with an image. I want to paint a picture for you. Every morning, before Nigeria wakes up, trillions of US dollars move across the world's financial markets. They do not carry passports. Of course, they do not need visas. They have no ethnicity. They have no religion. They do not vote. They do not attend political rallies. They are neither emotional nor patriotic. Capital goes only where it is respected, protected, rewarded, and allowed to grow. That is the first lesson of economic development. Countries do not compete for capital just because they need money. They compete for capital because capital determines whether ideas become businesses, businesses become industries, industries become jobs, and jobs translate into prosperity. The 21st century is no longer a competition for natural resources, not even for talent alone. It is increasingly a competition for capital at scale. The nations that attract, retain, deploy, and recycle capital most efficiently will dominate global prosperity. This is the central thesis of my lecture today, and I intend to present it with both rigor and candor. So just follow me. I'm going to challenge you. Isolation. It compares us simultaneously against Vietnam, against Indonesia, against Kenya, against Brazil. We have never simply been assessed, we're always being benchmarked. Number 5, capital is unforgiving. It punishes inconsistency swiftly and remembers it for a long time. A single policy reversal can undo years of patient confidence building. Trust, once broken, is reprised immediately and repaired only slowly, sometimes over decades. I have a new proposition. For too long, our policy conversation has asked the wrong question, wrong in quotes. We have asked, how do we deepen the capital markets? This is a technocrat question focused inwards on instruments, on infrastructure, on regulation. It is necessary, but it's not sufficient. The question we must ask instead is sharper, more uncomfortable, and ultimately more useful. That is, why should capital choose Nigeria? That single reframing changes everything. It forces us to view ourselves as capital sees us, as one option among many, competing on trust, predictability, liquidity, narrative, and the credibility of our institutions. So let me tell you about what I call the 7 laws of capital attraction. Law number 1, capital follows trust, but before it follows returns. I'll take that again. Capital follows trust before it follows returns. Policymakers often assume capital seeks the highest returns available. It does not, at least not primarily. Capital seeks predictable returns. Predictability is frequently more valuable than profitability because an investor can model and price predictable risk, but cannot price chaos. A market offering 18% with policy whiplash will lose to a market offering 12% foreign exchange uncertainty. A predictable tax regime at a moderate rate will always outperform a generous incentive regime subject to sudden change. Law number 3, liquidity creates confidence. Deep capital markets generate more capital. Liquidity begets liquidity. Shallow markets, by contrast, frighten investors twice over. Once on the way in, because exit is uncertain, and again on the way out, because price discovery is poor. So both entry and exit have to be attractive. Debt is not a luxury. It is a precondition for scale. Law number 4, narratives, and this is very important. Narratives influence valuations. Here I wish to introduce a concept I believe is original to my lecture. Nigeria pays what I call a wrong narrative price. Just as countries pay interest rate spread for credit risk, they also pay perception spread for reputational risk. A poorly told story about a well-executed reform increases the cost of capital, just as surely as a poorly executed reform does. Good governance must therefore be matched deliberately and professionally with good communication. Otherwise, our reforms are systematically undervalued by the very market we're trying to persuade. And this communication is not only from the government, it's also from us as professionals when we go on TV and we write in the news and on social media. Law number 5, capital prices institutions, not personalities. What do I mean by that? Investors do not commit long-term capital to a minister, to a governor, not even to a president. They commit capital to a judiciary that enforces contracts, a central bank that defends its independence, and a bureaucracy that outlives any single administration. Where institutions are strong, leadership, transition are non-events for capital. Where institutions are weak, every election cycle becomes a referendum on whether capital should stay or leave. Law number 6, capital rewards ease of exit as much as entry. A market is judged not only by how easily capital can come in, but how reliably it can leave through dividend, repatriation, divestment, or sale. Nigeria's FS framework, our capital account rules, and the depth of our secondary market all speak directly to this. An investor who cannot confidently model their exit will hesitate at the point of entry. Law number 7, capital follows the rule of law before it follows the rule of incentives. Whether it's tax holidays, if you like, allocate free lands for investors to come, but only an enforceable, impartial, and timely system of dispute resolution sustain long-term investment and commitment. This brings me to a structural gap in our national architecture that I believe this audience must confront directly, and I'm ready to support this. I think we need a commercial dispute resolution tribunal. Nigeria has made commendable progress in building investment protection framework, bilateral investment treaties, investors arbitration mechanism, and dedicated investment promotion institutions. These matter, and we should be proud of them, but they address only one slice of the capital that Nigeria needs. Investment tribunals exist primarily to resolve disputes relating to investment and securities in the capital markets. They are essential, but they're not enough. They're not designed to resolve the everyday commercial disputes that determine whether ordinary business activity in Nigeria is bankable, whether listed or not. A supplier who has not been paid within contractual terms, a joint venture partner who has breached an agreement, a land dispute over an industrial facility, a contractual disagreement between two firms, local or international, and operating entirely within Nigeria. This is a gap with real economic consequences. Today, such disputes are rooted through a general civil court system that, however hardworking our judiciary may be, is structurally unable to deliver the speed and specialization that commercial capital requires. Independent legal analysis has found that commercial disputes proceeding through the High Court, the Court of Appeal, And ultimately, the Supreme Court can take an average of around 15 years to resolve. A timeline that no rational allocator of capital can underwrite. Cases that ought to be resolved in months stretch into years. Judges of great integrity are nonetheless required to rule on commercial and financial matters of considerable technical complexity without the benefit of specialized commercial training or dedicated commercial court infrastructure. I therefore propose before this distinguished community of capital market academics the establishment of a dedicated commercial dispute resolution tribunal, distinct from and complementary to our existing investment tribunal architecture. Such a tribunal should be staffed by judges and arbitrators with specific commercial, financial, and capital market expertise, not generally civil jurisdiction. Bound by strict statutory timeline for case disposal, we publish performance metrics and investors and rating agencies that investors and rating agencies can track. Empower to head dispute between domestic parties, not just foreign versus states, so that everyday Nigerian entrepreneur and multinational investor can enjoy some level of contract certainty. It should be integrated with modern case management technology and digital filing, reducing the discretion for procedural delay that currently erodes confidence. And it should be designed to interoperate with arbitration and mediation framework so that the tribunal becomes only a backstop of last resort rather than the default first step. Why does this matter for capital mobilization specifically? Because every capital market instrument, a bond, a structured note, a private placement, a syndicated loan, is at its core a contract. The depth of our capital market cannot exceed the depth of our confidence that contract will be enforced swiftly and impartially. An investment tribunal protects capital from the states. A commercial dispute resolution tribunal protects capital from each other and from the ordinary frictions of doing business. Nigeria needs both pillars standing, not one. Another important thing I want to share with you is the need for us to change our culture around debt. That's part of the capital you need. I want to address directly and without euphemism a cultural barrier that I believe has cost Nigeria more growth than any single policy failure. Our negative perception of debts and our cultural preference for sole ownership of businesses over shared capital structure. In much of our public discourse, debt is spoken of as a moral failing rather than a financial instrument. People go to churches and mosques to pray that may they never be in debt. A government that borrows is accused of mortgaging the future. A business that takes on leverage is viewed with suspicion rather than as exercises sound financial strategy. An individual who finances a venture through credit rather than personal saving is sometimes seen as reckless rather than resourceful. Nigeria's responsibility, therefore, is twofold. We must reduce actual risk through sound macroeconomic management and institutional reform. And we must correct perceived risk through deliberate, evidence-based, and professionally executed communication. Both matter. Neither of it is sufficient alone. A country can reform diligently and still be mispriced if it does not allow a story to be told correctly with discipline. Equally, no amount of narrative polish can substitute for genuine fiscal and institutional improvements. We must do both simultaneously and creditably. So why has speculation become easier than investment? We see this every time. And our average citizen, particularly online, would amplify what is not working about the country and play down on the positives. We all pay the price of that misinformation. Let me pose this uncomfortable question to this audience. Why should Nigerian savings finance jobs in California, while Nigerian entrepreneurs struggle to raise growth capital at home? Why is it easier today for a Nigerian undergraduate to buy shares in an American technology company than to invest in Nigerian companies creating jobs here in our own cities? Why have we made speculation easier than investment? These are not rhetorical flourishes. They describe a real misallocation of domestic capital driven by friction in our own market infrastructure, by limited investor education, and by the comparative ease with which global platforms now reach the Nigerian saver. If we do not close this gap deliberately, our own citizens will continue to be among the most efficient exporter of Nigerian capital. We have more or nearly the same amount of money invested by mostly young Nigerians in cryptocurrency and virtual assets, with gaming and gambling as the value of the capital market. That's something to think about. Now, we must also democratize ownership, not just the markets. I want to propose a more ambitious goal than simply deepening the capital market, and that is that we must democratize ownership itself. Imagine a Nigeria where every citizen owns productive assets, not merely consumes products, where every graduate leaves university not only with a degree, but with an investment account already active, where every cooperative society invests its pooled resources through professionally managed funds rather than informal unregulated schemes, where every market woman can hold, through a unit trust or infrastructure fund, a genuine stake in the roads, ports, and power plants that her commerce depends upon. That is what it means to democratize wealth, not simply opening a stock exchange to more participants, but rewiring the relationship between ordinary citizens and the productive economy itself. And we must finance small businesses. Banks alone cannot and should not be expected to solve the financing needs of Nigerian small businesses, neither should it be government alone. Our capital market must develop a fuller suite of instruments suited to businesses at every stage of growth, SME exchanges, with listing requirements calibrated to smaller growing companies, private placement structured efficiently for businesses not yet ready for public markets, crowdfunding platforms properly regulated to protect retail participants, revenue-based finance, aligning repayment with actual business performance, venture capital for cost of debt will be much lower. So, I propose further the development of a national risk market rather than government absorbing every category of risk directly onto its own balance sheet. We should use capital market to price and distribute risk, political risk, climate risk, agricultural risk, infrastructure guarantees, policy continuity insurance, export guarantees, and credit enhancement instruments. These alone could fundamentally transform the financing of Nigerian infrastructure by allowing risk to be held by those best equipped and most willing to price and bear it. I have a challenge for CIMA, the academy, as I close. To distinguish academics gathered here today, we do not need more theories explaining why markets failed 30 years ago. We need evidence showing how Nigeria can finance the next 30 years. Our capital market needs research that changes policy, not merely research that satisfies publication requirements. I say this with the greatest respect for scholarship, but scholarship that does not eventually touch policy, market design, or institutional reform is a conversation we are having only with ourselves. Let this fellowship be a renewed commitment to research with consequence. Finally, and in closing, history remembers nations by the monument they build. But before monuments are built, capital must first believe. The battle for Nigeria's future is therefore not merely a battle for economic growth, it's a battle for confidence. Because confidence attracts capital. Capital finances productivity. Productivity creates prosperity. And prosperity secures peace. The countries that will lead this century will not necessarily be those with the most natural resources. They will be those that become the most trusted homes for global capital. Let us build such a Nigeria with strong institutions, fair and specialized dispute resolution, a citizenry unafraid of debts or shared ownership, and a capital market worthy of our ambition.
Let me begin with a word of congratulation to convene the finest academic minds in our financial market consistently, biennially, around questions that truly matter is no small accomplishment. CMAN has made itself an indispensable bridge between the lecture hall and the trading floor, between rigorous research and real-world regulation. For that, the entire capital market community owes you its gratitude. Being a founding member of CMAN, I am indeed very proud to be associated with this noble initiative. I have long believed that good regulation begins with good thinking. The policies we make at the Securities and Exchange Commission are only ever as strong as the evidence and ideas that inform them. And it is precisely here, in your seminars and your journals, your peer review and your patient pursuits of truth, that much of that evidence is born. When scholarship and regulation work together, markets become fairer, deeper, and safer for the Nigerians we both serve. That is why I value this gathering as so highly, and why the Commission regards the academic community not as observers of our work, but as partners in it. We meet too at remarkable moments for the Nigerian capital market, an era of historic reform anchored by the Investment and Securities Act 2025 and a bold new 10-year master plan about to be unleashed to the Nigerian capital market community. A moment of such demand makes more thinking, not less, more scrutiny, more research, and more honest debate. Your work has never been more needed than it is today. The theme you have chosen for this conference, the Nigerian capital market as a catalyst for equitable and inclusive growth, could not be more timely. It asks the right question of our generations, not merely whether our market can grow, but for whom it grows and how widely the benefits are shared. I will have rather to make more and say that on the subject matter itself. Please permit me to make this gathering a single request. Let your deliberations be bold, let your papers be rigorous, and let your conclusions not remain on the page. Bring them to us. The Commission's door is open to evidence, to challenge, and to fresh ideas. Whatever they may be, the finest measure of these 2 days will not be the sessions we hold, but the policies and practices they go on to shape.
It is indeed my pleasure to join you today at the 2026 Annual Conference and Fellowship Award Ceremony of the Capital Market Academies of Nigeria. This occasion is particularly special to me because I have followed the growth of the Capital Market Academies of Nigeria since its establishment in 2021. I therefore commend the President of CMAN, Professor Uche Owaleke, the Executive Council, and the entire membership for their commitment to advancing scholarship while contributing practical ideas for the development of the Nigerian financial market. The theme of this year's conference, Nigerian capital market as a catalyst for equitable and inclusive growth in Nigeria, is both appropriate and thought-provoking. It reminds us that the success of the capital market should not be measured only by rising market capitalization or impressive stock market performance, but ultimately the market must serve the broader national objective of creating jobs, financing infrastructure, supporting businesses, expanding investment opportunities, and improving the quality of life of ordinary Nigerians. I'm delighted that today's Fellowship Award will honor distinguished Nigerians whose leadership and contributions have significantly shaped the development of financial markets. I warmly congratulate every recipient today, including distinguished senators, Senator Wadada, Senator Abbas, and the Honorable Minister of Finance. Distinguished academics, there is no doubt that the Nigerian capital market has made remarkable progress in recent years. The market has continued to demonstrate resilience, attract investment, and provide an effective platform for long-term capital formation. The recently concluded banking recapitalization exercise once again confirmed the strategic importance of the capital market in supporting economic transformation by enabling financial institutions to mobilize substantial long-term capital. These achievements have been complemented by the bold economic reforms being implemented under the administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. While every reform comes with short-term adjustments, the commitment to restoring macroeconomic stability, improving fiscal sustainability, and strengthening investors' confidence is gradually yielding positive outcomes for both the economy and the capital market. The National Assembly has equally played its part. As the chairman of the Senate Committee on Capital Market, I'm proud that our committee championed the enactment of the Investment and Securities Act 2025, which has significantly modernized Nigeria's legal and regulatory framework for the capital market. The Act strengthens investors' protection, improves market integrity, accommodates emerging financial innovations, and positions our market to compete more effectively within the global financial space. However, we must not become complacent. We still need more companies to list on the exchange. It is regrettable that over 4 million companies that are registered in Nigeria, only about 150 are listed in our market. This is absolutely wrong, and something has to happen, either directly or indirectly. How do we promote the capital market in Nigeria if somebody is calling from outside the country and check the listing board? I can see only about 150 companies. Honorable Minister, I think something has to happen. Something must happen in this direction. You say that some companies are squeezed into falling into line, or government will stop patronage some companies. Something has to happen. However, this is where the Capital Market Academy of Nigeria has a unique responsibility. Through research, teaching, policy, advocacy, and investor education, you can help build a financially literate society. As a fellow seaman myself, I wish to assure all of you of my continued personal support and that the Senate Committee on Capital Market and Institutions as we work together to deepen the market, strengthen investors' confidence, and promote policies that will unlock Nigeria's enormous economic potential.
Thank you again for joining us today. On Wednesday, the Central Bank of Nigeria revoked 46 licenses that's of microfinance banks. And the World Bank has come up to say that Nigeria is going to get a loan of about $1.25 billion from, that is, Nigeria is going to get $1.25 billion from it for jobs, for investment acceleration, for acceleration of growth, to support the reforms in the country, amid a potpourri of some other issues. We're already also in the second half of the year. We will be reviewing the first half of the year, an outlook for the second half, and what is expected as Nigerians. What should we expect concerning the second half, and how far have we even gone in the first half? The remnants of the first half Is it still going to show its face in the second half? And don't forget that the second half of 2026 will be dominated with election campaigns and what have you. Now, let's take you through our conversation this morning, and I have Johnson Chukwu. Chief Chukwu is with me live here in Abuja. He's with me. He's the Group Managing Director of Carry Asset Management, as well as the Chief Executive Officer. Chief Chukwu, welcome to the program. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you again.
Thank you for having me. Good day.
Now, you know what just came to my mind now? What's the difference between GMD and CEO?
No, yeah, there is a difference.
Yes.
When you have a GMD, that means you have a group structure. That means you have multiple entities that are under one umbrella. The CEO or managing director, actually CEO, chief executive officer, and managing director are the same, have the same meaning, but because we combine, Nigerians seem to combine the nomenclature used by the US and the UK. So we now say MD CEO.
Yes. It just came to my mind, and I try as much as possible to use every opportunity to educate our audience. So now let's get started. 46 microfinance banks, let's start from there. 46 microfinance banks, one statement from the central bank, licenses gone overnight. What do you have to say about it?
Well, Nancy, what I would say is that if you look at the structure of the microfinance banking subsector, there are about 1,008 microfinance houses in the country, based on the report by the National Association of Microfinance Banks of Nigeria.
Yeah.
So, and then you have about 885 of them are unit microfinance banks. So, and these unit microfinance banks are either have one branch with two other branches, or maximum of one with one other branch, and or maximum of one with 4 other branches. And they are all in restricted locations. And then what they provide, the service they provide is now being provided by the fintech operators, though some of them also have microfinance banking license. So what we are seeing is that technological advancement is making moribund some of the primary object clauses of microfinance, unit microfinance banks. And that is why many of them are not able to close up. From what the central bank says, some of them close shops without informing the central bank. Some do not have enough assets to meet their liabilities. Some do not have requisite capital stipulated, which is just about 200 million naira for the unit microfinance banks. And the key thing is that they are operating the primary operations. Some of them are being taken over by other financial intermediaries. And that's what is constraining them. And that's why you're seeing many of them not operating on their own. So it's a dynamic environment that technology is nibbling into their space. You now have POS terminals operators. The POS operators are providing some of the services in microfinance banks we are providing. You have agent banks. They are providing some of the services being operated by microfinance banks. And they are located within the vicinity of the microfinance banks. And that's why we are seeing some of them not able to continue to compete. Again, the compelling need to be physically near somebody is no longer that compelling because, like I said, technology. Today, how many times have you gone to a banking hall recently? So the reality is that what the microfinance banks are supposed to be nearest to the grassroots. To the grassroots. Even the grassroots operators are using their phones to do business with conventional banks at the expense of their next door neighbors who are the microfinance banks.
So let's take a look at this holistically. If you wipe out 46 grassroots banks simultaneously, because that's what the initial thought of microfinance lending in the country, the Grameen model adopted, I think it's Bangladesh, yes. Though we've seen our microfinance sector go away from it for a while. I don't know if we'll have time to come back to, but if we don't, at least I've mentioned it. The initial thought of it is that the microfinance banks is a grassroots bank or grassroots banks in terms of micro lending, do you think that financial inclusion will take a direct hit? Because these banks already have customers, as it were. That's if the financial inclusion will take a hit. And number two, what happens to their customers now?
Well, I don't think it so much affects financial inclusion. The reason is that many of them we are not operating. We are no longer operating. And above all, the reason why they were not operating because they've been displaced by other financial services providers. And those who are displacing them because those people have either cheaper cost of transactions or faster time of service delivery. So if customers are already migrated to those who are providing them the same banking service at lower cost or at a quicker rate of service, then the customers are not missing out anything. Customers are already migrated, and that's why I said, look, the financial inclusion drive of the central bank will not materially be affected. Okay. It would have been affected.
Because all of us are on our phones now, on our devices.
Yes, if they were not.
SSD codes and all that.
Thank you.
The POS, the agent banking. So that's why you're saying it will not be affected at all.
Yes, because many people have already migrated out of the compelling service of the microfinance banks through other multiple channel of service delivery.
How about the customers? Whatever you say, even if there are 100 customers across board.
Yeah, you could have a few customers affected.
Yes.
But the key thing is that unless the customers are exposed in terms of deposits, which NDIC will come in. But if they are not exposed in terms of deposits and the issue is service, like I said, there are multiple financial intermediaries that are providing the same services that the microfinance banks. Let me tell you something that happens in a business environment. If a business operator, if a business operation has a compelling value offer to consumers, then that line of business will not go out of business. If a particular operator fails to continue to provide us compelling value proposition, value offer, service offering to consumers, another competition will come and take that place. So unless your value proposition has become moribund or have been overtaken by another service provider who is providing a superior service in terms of quality of service, convenience, time of service delivery, and cost. And if that happens, your business will just not die a natural death.
How about the issue of public trust in the sector, in the micro banking sector?
Yeah, that would be.
Don't you think it could be affected?
It will be affected if we are talking of loss of value, which I said that's where NDIC comes in.
But NDIC process is painfully slow.
Well,
it's not an immediate stuff.
It may not be an immediate issue, but bear in mind that we are talking of the entire microfinance banking industry in the country. Say they have about 250 billion in shareholders' funds. They have about, I think 250 billion in total assets, about 140-something billion in deposits. Okay, so if that is what we're talking of, and 46 out of 1,008 are affected, and those 46 are units, mostly units. Microfinance banks, then it becomes, you can dimension the level of risk that the economy is exposed to with them, and the dimension, the kind of deposit liability that the central bank, the NDIC, will have underwritten, and they have to now honor. So if I were the NDIC, I think it's an issue I will resolve in a matter of days, because the liabilities are not much, the customers are not many, and
yes, the liabilities are not much in terms of the
value, total value, but they be material because of the people involved. Because there's a saying in Igbo land that the far of a poor person is the person's cow. So it may be talking of 5,000, 10,000, which can be paid with minimal stress by the NDIC.
But there are some people that have more than that too.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Some use that microfinance bank. Some have more than 500,000, 1 million naira as deposits.
Absolutely.
So it's not that much. That's it. Even the so NDIC can honor that.
That's my belief.
But you know that the NDIC also has a cap as to no matter the amount.
For each insured liability.
Yes.
Yeah, there is a cap.
I think they increased it at a time.
I know, they did about a couple of, maybe about 2 or 3 years ago. But even at that, we're talking of the rural microfinance banks. and that's the ones affected most. So if they're the ones, so you can imagine the level of wealth available at Nigerian rural areas. So I think that NDIC should be able to weigh in immediately and resolve this quickly. I believe the people whose deposit will be above the insured limit will not be too many. And then for those who are within the insured limit, quickly clear this. And for those who are above the insured limit, sell the assets of these microfinance banks and pay dividend based on the surplus, if they are surplus from those assets.
Okay, if we take a look at the timing, or not even just about the timing, the CBN has regulatory capacity and regulatory supervision over these banks, as it were, and visibility. Do you think it's a failure of enforcement also on their part?
No, you know, when we talk of enforcement and regulation, there is almost a limit to what regulation can safeguard. If you have a business operator who has been issued a license and they didn't start after 12 months, when the license tenure or term will expire, what would the regulator do? Call the investors and flog them and say, you go and start business. Some of those licenses that were revoked were licenses that were issued for 12 months and they didn't start operation.
They didn't start operation.
Then you have instances where the business has actually closed down. So you can't blame that on the regulators. Then you have instances where inefficient or ineffective management has led to dissipation in the assets of the company, short of the central bank being the one to sit down there and run every microfinance banks. So the key thing is that we have a free entry and free exit, and where there are weaknesses, the system must find a way to weed out those who don't have the capacity to continue in business so that they don't infect others within that industry.
Let's take a look at the World Bank loan, the 1.25 billion. That, you know, it's a fiscal paradox staring us in the face. With the immense public pushback that we've seen and the warning light over debt service ratios, what do you think about this approval? Is it like a vote of confidence in our structural reforms? Because the World Bank says that it's part of supporting jobs and also structural reforms. Or is this perhaps a fiscal rascality or fiscal dependency that delays or that looks at also our revenue mobilization, even though government says that it's making more money?
You know, let's look at it from multiple perspectives. In the first place, the World Bank and other multilateral agencies are the largest lenders to the federal government. About the 51 billion total foreign currency loans we exposed to at the end of December last year. The World Bank, the IMF, and such multilateral agencies account for over 50% of it. I think about 57% of the total amount of exposure that we have. World Bank's loans are always concessionary, and they are supposed to be targeted at specific projects. But if we look at the concessionary nature of World Bank loans, they are actually the most amenable to our fiscal condition, in the sense that we pay minimal interest rates, and then the tenors and the maturities are much longer. The challenge we have is that some of the loans are given to government to implement policies or to implement execute projects that you really can't put your hand on, place your hand on. So we have, in as much as we take those loans, they are concessionary loans, but we can't say that the country has gotten value for money. And if you don't get value for money, even if the interest is a zero interest loan, the obligation to pay back becomes a burden. So in terms of loans, if Nigeria has to access any loan, in principle, the World Bank loans should be the first option we have. It is not as expensive as the $18.5 billion we own in the Eurobond market. And then most of them are come with longer term tenors. But the problem is that we now need to look inwards and ask ourselves, are we getting value for these loans that we're talking of? Some of the projects earmarked for these loans, like I said earlier, you really can't place your hand on how effectively it's been executed. So if they are not effectively executed, then we will not gotten value for money, and we are still obligated to paying back the loans. Okay.
I think, Mr. Chukwuweda, we'll just leave it at that for now. We'll look at the H2 2026 economic outlook and also review the H1. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, and that's it today on the program. Be the best you can be the change that you want to see. I am Nancy Nnaji. Bye for now.
Inside our boat, more than 100 people from Gambia. Some people are Nigerians, some people are from Liberia, many countries in Africa. The day we try to cross our boat have problem. And the weather also is not that much good. The water is coming inside our boat, so we decided to return back. Because if we want to continue,
we look at the search and rescue, saving lives. We do have also all the assistance on Migrant Resource Center at the transit countries. Once they are back, IM is doing a whole support in terms of counseling, economic reintegration, social reintegration, but also, most importantly, psychosocial support.
I never want to come back here. I want to continue on my journey. I'm very sad, because the money I spend, I lose everything, and to come and start zero. It could be more than $100,000, but no option. The place you are, you cannot go out there, you cannot escape.
Good day wherever you're watching. It's another time, another day, another episode of your security program, The Defenders, coming to you from the stable of The Defenders TV of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps. And the program is aimed at highlighting the achievements of the Corps under the leadership of our Commandant General, Professor Hamid Abubakar Howdy, MNI OFR. The precondition to freedom is security, and on the program we'll be giving you security talk, security tips, security enlightenment, and every other security-related issue. I am Babawali Afolabi.
Join us for The Defenders, the show that hides and more prosperous Nigeria for all.
The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps NSCDC Enugu Command has apprehended alleged suspects in connection with a case of kidnapping. The suspects were paraded at the command's headquarters in Enugu.
Security of lives and property is the key responsibility of government. In Nigeria, agencies like the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, police, and others play important roles when crime cases are reported. The NSCDC Enugu State Command is living up to expectations in carrying out their duty of safeguarding lives and properties in the state. While parading the suspects, Commandant Elijah Etim said the victim was lured into the Onobo forest under the pretense of buying cattle before being ambushed by armed men. He urged Enugu residents to always give useful information on the movement and activities of criminals within their localities.
The victim alleged that 3 armed men carrying 1 AK-47, 2 rifles and pistols and machetes emerged from the forest and attacked him. He was consequently taken captive and ransom demanded from the wife.
The commandant restated the commitment of NSCDC in ensuring that Enugu remains peaceful, while warning criminals, kidnappers and vandals that Enugu State is no longer a safe haven for their operations.
A patrol team that was close by was contacted, and they reacted swiftly. Within about 8 hours, less than 24 hours, our men successfully rescued Mr. Daniel and arrested 3 of the suspects.
When the citizens cooperate by providing timely information and security agencies respond effectively, crimes will be reduced.
Every nation has a turning point, a moment when ordinary people rise to extraordinary purpose, not because they were asked to, but because they had to. For Nigeria, that moment came in the heat of conflict, when our unity was shaken and our people stood exposed.
The year was 1967. The Civil War has just begun. But even in the darkness, light emerged. From the rubble and fears, a group of brave Nigerians chose not to run. They chose to protect. No ranks, no rifle, only courage and convictions that every life matters. That was the beginning of what would become the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC.
From those humble efforts in Lagos, a volunteer force took shape, guiding citizens through sirens, shelter, and survival. By the 1970s, the movement gained structure, becoming the Lagos Civil Defense Committee, educating the public on emergency response and civil protection.
In 1984, it became the National Civil Defense Organization under the Ministry of Internal Affairs, now Ministry of Interior, playing vital role in disaster response, civil education, voluntary safety campaign across Nigeria. Still informal, still underfunded, but deeply respected.
In 2003, the National Assembly passed the NSCDC Act No. 2, legally establishing the Corps as a paramilitary institution empowered to protect lives, properties, and national infrastructures. The Act was later amended in 2007, further strengthening the Corps with authority to bear arms, make arrests, with or without warrants, and collaborate with other security agencies.
From volunteers to professionals, from whispers of hope to a structured civic shield, a corps born from crisis, now standing for peace. Under the pragmatic leadership of Professor Ahmed Abubakar Audi, MNI, OFR, the first professor to serve as the Commandant General, NSCDC entered a new era. Stronger training, smarter operations, and deeper community engagement. Across Nigeria, we now operate with discipline and direction through the elite formations like Agro Rangers, Safe School Initiative, Disaster Management, Anti-Vandalism, Female Squad, Mining Marshals, and Special Intelligence Squad, all serving with civility, compassion, and courage.
Beyond our borders, NSCDC is a proud member of the International Civil Defense Organization, ICDO, with its global headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland. A corps connected to global standards, yet firmly rooted in Nigerian soil.
From the ashes of 1967 to the strength of today, our journey has been shaped by sacrifice, guided by service, and anchored in trust. We are not just a corps in uniform, we are your neighbors, your defenders, your bridge between peace and panic. We are the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, defending the defenseless.
The Ogun State Command of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, has handed over 16 suspected illegal immigrants to the Nigeria Immigration Service for further investigation, verification of their immigration status, and other necessary legal actions. The suspects were formally transferred to officials of the Nigeria Immigration Service at the NSCDC state headquarters in Abeokuta following their arrest in Ijebu-Mushin community area of Ogun State.
The 16 suspects, made up of 10 males and 6 females, were found living in a one-room apartment in Ewure community, Ijebu-Mushin, a development that arouses suspicion among residents. They were apprehended on Monday following a tip-off from a member of the community, reflecting growing public vigilance and cooperation with security agencies in Ogun State. Addressing journalists, the commandant of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Ogun State Command, Mrs. Remilekun Ekundayo, confirms that the suspects are foreign nationals from Cameroon and Ivory Coast. She explains that 9 of them are unable to provide valid immigration documents, while 7 present ECOWAS temporary residence cards.
The suspects claim to be staff of an online platform identified as Ignite Online Networking, and stated that they relocated to Nigeria to engage in online business activity. The concentration of a large number of undocumented foreign nationals within a single residence understandably raises significant current security concerns for the community and the state at large, and underscores the need for sustained vigilance and enhanced community-based intelligence gathering.
Mrs. Ekundayo commends residents of Ewure community for providing timely and credible intelligence that led to their arrest, especially at a time when the country faces various security challenges.
Command commends the Ewuren community for their vigilance, prompt information sharing, and cooperation with security agencies. We urge all residents of Ogun State to remain vigilant and continue to report suspicious persons, movements, or activities within their environment. Security is a collective responsibility. Once again, we reiterate our call: see something, say something.
The suspects are subsequently handed over to the Ogun State Command of the Nigeria Immigration Service, alongside exhibits recovered from there, for proper documentation, verification, and further investigation. The suspects are between the ages of 21 and 33 years old.
Under President, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Niger State Command has arraigned 27 suspected illegal miners before the Chief Magistrate Court 6 Mina.
The suspects, Biliaminu Musa, 18 years, and 26 others, were arraigned before the court on 7 count charges, which include criminal conspiracy, criminal trespass, mischief, abetment, theft, and receiving stolen property, contrary to Section 60, subsection 2, Section 348, 327, 47, 283, and 316 of the Niger State Penal Code Law 2025. The suspect conspired among themselves and trespassed onto a community land around M.I. Wushishi Housing Estate and Kapintela area along Western Bypass Mina, and carried out illegal mining without due authorization and sold mineral mines to the dealers, in the process causing serious damage to the land. After reading the FIR, all the suspects individually pleaded not guilty of the crime. The prosecution counsel, Assistant Commander of Corps Stephen Sado, therefore prayed the court for adjournment to enable them conclude investigations. However, counsel to the defendants, Muhammad Sagir Sado, filed an oral application for bail, which was denied by the judge, directing the defense counsel to file the application in writing.
This is just the first step. The defendants have not been found guilty, but it is a signal and a lesson to all other persons who are involved in illegal mining within Niger State to desist from the illegal acts. Because if they do and if they continue, the law, particularly the NSCDC, will surely catch up with them. We're on the move and we're at alert. Any intelligence information we get, we swing into action to ensure that the society is cleansed from illegal mining. Mining activities is a legal venture. Anyone that wants to engage in it should obtain the necessary licenses, the requisite papers that will enable them to engage in the mining.
The court adjourned the case to 9th July 2026 for hearing on the bail application and ordered the suspect to be remanded in a correctional facility.
You won't pay person to get job for you for NSCDC. Hold on. Now corruption be that. That one a big wahala. This 2025 recruitment. Now unfair be that too. It be like white paper. No wuru wuru, no magu magu. Make you no give anybody money when he tell you say if he run am for you. No let anybody carry your hand, go back, collect money, go use your money chop pepper soup for nights. Now corruption be that too. Both the person when he give and the person when he take, una go enter gbege and una go face the law. All application for this whole recruitment suppose go through the official recruitment sites. When they show for your screen so, and now for free, we no need to give money at all. Make you guide your tomorrow. Say no to wuru. Make you no put sand for your garri or shine your eye. If anybody ask you for money, make you report them sharp. Make you no keep quiet as if aga gum dey your mouth too. Because we dey fight for integrity for this Nigeria. We dey summon you this information from Anti-Corruption and Transparency Unit of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps on behalf of our Oga Patapata, the Commandant General, Professor Ahmed Abubakar Alji, MNI OFR.
Be warned, don't be scammed. If you see something, say something.
The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps NSCDC, Akwa Ibom State Command, has arrested 3 suspects and impounded a tanker carrying 45,000 liters of ethanol suspected to have been illegally acquired. The State Commandant Geraldine Abetiambe said this while briefing journalists in Uyo on Friday, adding that suspects were arrested on June 23rd after NSCDC operatives intercepted the tanker at Ikorumoisien along Aba Road in the Senodum local government area. According to the commandant, the suspect presented a waybill that contained several discrepancies during interrogation. Further investigations reportedly showed that the declared loading points could not be verified, strengthening suspicions that the ethanol was not obtained through legitimate channels.
During this operation, misinformation from the suspects nearly pitched another agency against us. In an attempt to frustrate the arrest, this underscores why antagonism among security agencies only serves the interests of the criminals. Through synergy, mutual respect, and timely information sharing, we recorded this success despite the attempt to derail it. With a capacity of 45,000 liters, was laden with a product suspected to be ethanol, acquired illegally. Upon interrogation, the suspect presented a waybill, which immediately raised suspicion due to several discrepancies.
They warned those involved in the illegal petroleum trade to desist, describing such activities as economic sabotage that threatens lives, government revenue, and national security.
Agro Ranger
is the collective responsibility of every citizen. No service has monopoly of any strategy. Now that the 3 C's are conspicuously noticed among security agencies: collaboration, cooperation, and coordination, I'd like to enjoin all security agencies to strengthen this collaboration so that together we can provide safety and security for Nigerians and for Nigeria. My name is Professor Ahmed Abubakar Alji, OFR MNI, Commandant General, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. Please keep watching the defenders.
My name is Olatunji Disu. I'm the Inspector General of Police. I'm here today to cement the relationship between us and the civil defense. The people are the bosses.
keep on watching the defenders.
In all the 30 states of the Federation, we have a command being headed by a commander. And in all the 740 local governments, we have a division being headed by a divisional officer. And in 80% of all the divisions, we have a household. Why? Because we're bringing security down to the grassroots level. If you notice anything strange in your local area, endeavor to walk into any of these divisions or commands. This is what we're drawing the curtain on this week's edition of the program. After the mean, Babawale Afolabi. When you say something, please say something. Bye for now.
Healthy.
This is the cool view. What do I do with my knife? Here we go.
How hard is it to get land and start a farm? It takes more than most people have for going in a metropolitan area. Farming basically means at the end of the year, hopefully you've paid all your bills. But that doesn't mean you have any money left to start the next season unless you happen to have such a good season. CSA is a great fit for our farm. I think I have about 600 CSA members.
Happy to be here. We're so blessed, yes.
My father used to borrow $25,000 at the beginning of the season and pay it back to the bank in September. Instead of that now, we ask our customers if we can borrow that money, and they give it to us in February and willingly, and then we pay them back in vegetables through the season. They have 3 different size shares, mini, regular, and robust. If you're a mini share, you get 6, and you just come and pick out whatever 6 things you want. And if you decide you want 6 bags of tomatoes, you get 6 bags of tomatoes.
Oh my gosh, the produce is so fresher, has better flavor. It just, and you get to pick and choose what you want to use. It is just wonderful.
When you do something the same for 20 years or 15 years or 10 years and you keep coming once a week to somebody's house every week, they're going to get to be like family.
Bye. We should have gone Spencer.
Hey guys, I'm sorry.
So the farmers market part of our business is roughly 40%. So we're very dependent on it.
We do have some spinach. It's in the back corner there.
We go to 5 markets a week for 30 weeks of the year, and one of them we go year-round. 20 weeks of the year, though, we don't have a market, really. So we make as much money as we can in those 30 weeks.
So much, and there is your $100. We're happy to be back.
Be better people. It's because you want the opportunities to come up.
Welcome once again to the stage. Thank you
for always being with us. This is a continuation of a series which we started some weeks back, in which we made the point that though things are difficult in this country, that we, each and every one of us that is a part of this country, can do something to make a difference. If you've been with us, you'll know that the series we titled Living Out Our Hope for a Compassionate Nigeria. A Nigeria of compassion, of peopled with a people of compassion, is bound to be a better Nigeria. And in line with that, we had outlined several areas where we thought those of us that constitute the majority, the common people, can do something. We can fold our hands to die. We can do something and do a little bit to make this country a better place. In line with that, we featured several episodes on several topics. But last week and the few weeks since then, we zeroed in on the critical importance of small and medium-scale enterprises in making this country a better one for all of us, in providing much-needed income and living for many, many people in this country. Small and medium-scale enterprises are the fundamental of the economy of a country. It is the backbone. SMEs create jobs. SMEs, as we described in an earlier episode, increase our GDP. SMEs do so much good for us as people, for us as a country. We also talked about the fact that it was important that our leadership provide the supportive policy and program environment that would allow these SMEs to thrive. In the past recent episodes, we delved into specific SMEs. But I was very, very open and admitted that small enterprises is a passion for C4C as an organization. Why? We focus a lot of our limited resources, time, energy, love, affection, to supporting and empowering a core group of young entrepreneurs for this country. I personally believe that these are entrepreneurs hold the key to a better Nigeria. These, when you empower young people economically, you've given them the freedom, the ability to take control of their country, to work strategically in the immediate and long term for the improvement of our country. We cannot afford to allow poverty to be a weapon against our people anymore. The way to the better future is economically empowered people, particularly young people. This is an important reason for the C4C Global Entrepreneurship Program. Again, with pride, I note the fact that we have, despite all odds, run this program for 7 continuous years and supported well over 100 young people in an intensive 1-year program in which they learn about how to manage and run their business successfully. And therefore, in continuation of that passion and that work, we decided to bring before you many of these wonderful young entrepreneurs. So they tell you their story, their journey, and indeed show you their success, because it is a story, a success story. So having said this, I am excited to say that for this particular episode, we are bringing an entrepreneur, inspiring young entrepreneur in a very, very important area of enterprise, agro production. Sometimes it's difficult to know which area of enterprise is most important. But without a shadow of doubt, those who produce and help us feed ourselves surely hold, if not the first place, at least one of the most important places. These entrepreneurs who produce food in all its forms, whether it's from the planting or whether it's from the processing of the food, are critical to our survival, particularly at this time. We are a country peopled by hungry people. I keep using the word people, but it's a fact. Never have we experienced hunger as we are experiencing it today. The average Nigerian family cannot put food on their table. So any entrepreneur who helps in that, who makes what we produce more available and accessible for the family to put on their table, should, in my opinion, get a Nobel Prize. But seriously though, it's such an important contribution to our national development, to the survival of our people. And so with excitement, join me as I turn around and welcome on set today Adeola Samuel.
Thanks, Mommy. Thank you.
The CEO of TDO Foods. Adeola is not a stranger to C4C. Why? I am so proud to announce that she's one of our fellows. She's been through the program. I don't know how many years ago now.
3 years now.
But she's also one of our stars. Again, I had talked to a previous fellow in the recent episode, but again, Adeola embodies all we strive to do in the fellowship, where we produce hardworking, intelligent, dedicated, passionate young entrepreneurs, totally devoted to what they do, who don't let obstacles stop them from achieving, but who are also social entrepreneurs, who are not afraid to share their knowledge, their skills, who are active members of a network. I can go on and on and on. She's dear to me.
Thank you, dear Mommy.
And thank you for coming on set, willing to share your trade secrets, if I may call it that, but also to showcase your success, because it is a story of success, and to share with our audience what you're doing, how you got there, and what you will do in the future. Again, Adeola, welcome to the set.
Thank you so very much, Mommy. It's a great honor to be here, really. To be here again, yes.
Yes, because you've been here before. You will still be here again in the future, because this is a story that will continue, and you will continue to grow. Because we always pray for you and for all young people out there, that the good Lord will always bless the work of your hands.
Amen. Thank you, Mommy.
And so, Adeola, welcome once again. As I have said, thank you so much. It's always such a pleasure. And so, we have a lot to share. Let's start with, today you are CEO TDO Foods. How did that happen? What got you there? What has been your journey?
Wow. You see, that COVID year changed everything. In the year 2020.
We will never forget 2020, all of us.
Yes. And that was the birth of this business and the growth that we're talking about today. I was working as a finance manager, and then when the COVID-19 strike, salary was not forthcoming again. And then my husband fell ill.
Oh.
It was so terrible. And before you know it, he was placed on some diet because he had high cholesterol, and they put him on some diets, rich people's diet too. So we started going to the market to source for natural products like unripe plantain flour was one of the products. Then we realized that instead of him to get better, he wasn't getting better. Then I started processing this by myself. I'll go to the market, village market, to buy unripe plantain. With the help of God and some people, they were able to guide me on the right type of plantain to use, because it's not all plantain that I can just say, oh, this is unripe plantain, let me make flour. There are some that has sugar, so you look for the right one. So I started processing, and before you know it, my husband got better. And then in sharing testimony to with one or two people, say, oh, please process for my family. So I was just processing for a few families, and then I thought of it, this is actually a solution. And also, in order to be able to provide alternative healthy products in the market, I have to also take my place. I have a role to play too. That is why I started unripe plantain. And before you know it, one product after the other. Oh, and there's a banger. Tidio kuli kuli. Mommy, I've always loved kuli kuli, but you know, I don't like buying it in the market because you see it opened, or when you go to where they make it, they are using their hand to extract and all of that. The processing wasn't so nice. So I started processing kuli kuli myself, especially when one auntie that I used to produce peanuts for in the US, she said, Adiola, you are in the north. Start making kuli kuli for me, because sometimes when they bring the kuli kuli to the US, she just wastes everything when she tastes and there is sand in it and all of that. So she was even the one, even though my husband had been saying, Adiola, start this kuli kuli, because we make hotel peanuts, and then at that time granola was already growing up. I would say, no, as a finance manager, kuli kuli again. Until that auntie now made request for kuli kuli, then we started making kuli kuli, which means the last time I bought granola was 16,000 naira. Presently, granola is like 80,000 naira. Mommy, the last time I bought was 16,000 naira. So we started doing kuli kuli. We never even did business with that auntie. So for me, I would see it as God wanted us to start this kuli kuli.
At what point in this, your transition to being the CEO of Didio, did you interact with C4C? Did it have...
At the time I met C4C, let me say C4C, God sent to me. C4C, conversation for change. Indeed, when I even came for interview, I think I was just scattered. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And there must have been something, because my application was not so great. There must have been something. Yeah, because that was the state I was like, I didn't really believe in myself. I didn't really think I could do much. I think my salary then was less than 60,000 naira. And 3 children, you can imagine. And I don't know, they saw something in me and they picked me. But that training, that 1-year program, the empowerment, even the first 1 week workshop, I knew, I had the understanding of who I want to be, where I want to play. And I'm always saying it. One of the words that anybody will say about Adiola is being resilient. You know, it's a different case that you know what you want to do, but there will definitely be obstacles. But when you're resilient, nothing shakes us. We are over that. Whatever comes our way, we'll climb it and thrive. And we're thriving by the grace of God. So C4C played a crucial role in my life. I'm still playing a crucial role. Like, oh, that means there must have been something that Adiola is doing well that made you to think I should be on the stage today. So I'm happy, I'm excited, and we keep moving.
I'm going to stop you because later I'm going to have you have many products. Yeah. You will describe to us in detail all about this product. Okay. But I want still holding you to tell us, when did you decide to take on this as a whole enterprise, as a business, and be the CEO? Because that takes some doing.
Yeah.
What led to it finally?
So it was when we started selling to some families, processing for some families, that we decided to make it as a business.
Okay.
I cannot continue living on less than.
You realize that selling to these families, you were actually making a reasonable
profit. So I said, so if I devote my time more to this, then I can get more. I'm a finance manager, so which means I know math a lot. So if I'm devoting like 20% of my time and I'm getting this result, which means if I give it my all, I will get more. And I've been devoted all my life working as a finance manager. So that was why I made up my mind that this is what we want to do now. And then we're not going to be serving Nigeria alone. We have to be able to reach the world. So Tidio Foods is registered. Tidio is actually trademarked under the Divine Manna Confectionery Limited, and then we are registered with NEPC. We export our products.
That's a very crafty name, Divine Manna. You know, you made sure you've asked God to hold your hand as you.
Yes, we can't do it alone. And Nigeria is a big market, you know. So we want to be able to carve a name for ourselves and be able to also support other people. Nigeria, if you don't have money, it's difficult to do business. But the truth is, when you are doing something and you're seeing results, just keep at it. Even people that do not believe in you, when they start seeing your success, like today, some of the people that used to say, you have started selling kuli again, they are now part of our distributors, because we are not only making money, they are also making money by being our distributors.
But I think you must have been blessed with a supportive partner, spouse, and family. Because at a point, by the time you courageously decided to do this full time, he must have been supportive.
Oh goodness, my husband is amazing. I am blessed with a wonderful husband and I have 3 children. See, my husband, I said he has great foresight. Like if all I could sit down in my mind and think of is 1 million naira, my husband is thinking of 100 million naira. So when he shares his own idea, and I'm like, wow, that is brilliant. We are able to run with it together. So we are working together. So when you hear Tidio Food, it's not just me. It is Taiwo Diola.
Okay.
Yeah,
he is Taiwo.
Yeah, he's Taiwo, and I'm Adeola. So we take Tidio, T-D-E-O. Tidio Foods that we have. So when we're trademarking,
who keeps the profit, you or him?
Mommy, funny enough, I'm the old signature to this account. But we do everything
That's a lesson
together.
for all our men out there. Eh? That is how to allow your wife to be a successful entrepreneur.
But we do this together. My husband is a great negotiator. When we go to the market, I don't like going to the market alone, because he speaks Hausa, and then in the northern area, you should be able to negotiate. My husband is very skilled in that. So he's the one that does the negotiation and getting stores. Mama, I don't even, before we got NAFDAC, oh, praise God, we finally got registered with NAFDAC. And before then, we've tried like 2 times that it failed. The money expired. We had to do it. It was the 3rd time that we were able to get NAFDAC. I'm not good with getting stores or talking to people. My husband is skilled in that line. So it's a family business. And amazingly, Mommy, just a few days ago, my last child, is 6 years old. He said, Mommy, you know, can you get the smaller shirt of Tidio for me? I said, okay.
Is that what you're wearing?
Yeah, this is T-shirt, Tidio. He said, can you get the smaller one for me? I said, what do you want to use it for? I said, I want to be selling Tidio Puli Puli. Because I see the way when you go out for exhibition, they invite you for this. You come home and you're happy. You tell us you made this money. I want to also be doing business. So make T-shirt for me. I want to be selling small packs of Puli. We laughed. But the truth is, I step back and like, there must have been something they see that is encouraging to them. If my little child can believe in me like this, and it's amazing. God has really been helping us.
Yes,
yeah.
God has been helping you, but also it's an example. You know, your family is an example that is worth sharing, where you have this idea, have great support from your husband. You know, too many times, sometimes men say, women, you know, she's doing the, you know, a pet project, but great support and from your husband, and your children are being inspired by what you do. And also thank you before that. Let's see that t-shirt again, because it is beautiful. It's also a great idea for bringing your business to people's attention. We encourage that in C4C. I always, as you will remember, I tell my fellows, you are the face of your business.
True.
Never think your business is divorced from your life. Whichever network you belong to, whichever group you belong to, be proud to sell your business and sell yourself.
Yeah, we learned so much from you, Mama. You know. Hey, did I also mention that the impact you made in my life or in our lives as fellows of C4C cannot be overemphasized. At the time I came to C4C, I didn't know anything. I was just trying to trade, survive it, but we are building a structure because you took us through a process. That 1 year journey is not a waste. I'm a product of the impact of the program. Like being resilient, be able to set your price well, having a business plan, having a structure for your business. Mommy, I learned all of that from C4C. And whether we are around in the business or we're on vacation, our business do not stop. It goes on, it moves on. And we are hoping that we will be able to scale up and establish that you'll be more proud of us than you are right now.
Thank you. Those are beautiful words. A great source of encouragement to us. We believe passionately in what people, helping people to be what you are today. But it's also good to get feedback and know that we are helping.
Indeed.
And that it's not a waste of time.
It is not.
So thank you for that.
Thank you.
And we know we'll always be here for you. We continue to support, encourage, and encourage the network. We hope you're an active part of the alumni network. Because you need to keep supporting each other. Yeah. So that is so wonderful. Thank you once again for being on set.
Thank you, Mom.
But the story has just begun. We have a lot more to tell, because in the coming episodes we shall also delve a bit more, for the sake of our audience, about what is it actually. Now TDO Foods is there. It's an established business enterprise. Fully duly registered, duly approved, many of its products by NAFDAC and so on and so forth. We will want a little bit more detail about that. So we're going to ask you to share that. Because it is part of the journey. And when we ask you to share it, we ask that you share candidly. Nothing is ever totally rosy.
That's all.
Nothing is ever totally rosy. So the highs and the lows, which are what add up to make it a success. So to our viewers, we say, don't go away. Be with us next week, as Adeola has agreed to continue to be here, to share with you, describe in some more detail her various products, the hassle, the joys of making sure they're always available for her customers. There's a great deal more to learn, to hear, and to be excited and inspired about. See you next week. Thank you.
For 2 years, Precious Mbomboli took pills daily to prevent infection with HIV, the virus that causes AIDS. But the 21-year-old is among the first in Zambia to receive a new injectable prevention drug.
For 2 years, yes.
I changed the new injectable on 25th February because the pill was difficult for me, as I used to forget to take it. Sometimes I was not at home at the time of taking the medication, so the injection makes me feel better and confident.
The new drug is known as cabotegravir, long-acting. Each shot prevents infection for 6 months. Zambia is the first low or middle-income country to offer the drug to the public. Lina Mwango is technical director of the local non-profit CHEP Zambia.
Our target age group for this is adolescent girls and young women who are aged 16 to 24, as well as we're reaching out to their sexual partners.
Local representatives called connectors are helping roll out the program.
The connector is based in the community. We do community mobilization, we do community sensitizations, we go on screen the girls that are eligible for dreams.
Thanks for joining us on AIT Reports. I am Lai Lawal. Welcome. Now we begin the news out with this story. As part of ongoing operations to rid Plateau state of criminal elements, troops of Operation Enduring Peace have neutralized several suspected terrorists, arrested a gun suspect, and recovered locally fabricated rifles and separate operations across the state. Troops of Sector 6 launched an operation at Jero High Ground in Jos South local government area following intelligence on the activities of suspected terrorists. According to the Joint Task Force, the troops came under fire and on arrival but received reinforcement forcing the suspects to retreat. During the ensuing pursuit, some of the suspected terrorists were neutralized while others escaped. Troops have continued combing the area to dismantle the criminals' hideouts. In a related development, troops of Sector 5 intercepted a motorcycle conveying 2 passengers from Kuba district in Bokos local government area to Mainjaki in Barkin-Ladi. The passengers fled into nearby bushes after fighting a military checkpoint. 3 locally fabricated rifles were recovered while the motorcycle rider was taken into custody. In another operation on June 30, troops acting on intelligence ambushed suspected terrorists gathered around the Rafin Rauna Jero Mountains in Jos South local government area. The military says 5 suspected terrorists were neutralized while others fled. Preliminary assessment indicates that some of those killed were on the military's wanted list for alleged involvement in attacks in Jos South and Bassa local government areas. On July 4th, troops on guard duty at the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, Kuru, repelled an attack by suspected terrorists who allegedly breached the facility's perimeter under the cover of darkness. And Operation Enduring Peace says that it remains committed to sustaining offensive operations aimed at protecting lives and property and restoring lasting peace across its area of responsibility. And now troops of Sector 2 Joint Task Force Northwest Operation Fasten Yama have dismantled the criminal syndicate involved in the manufacture and supply of locally fabricated firearms to terrorist groups operating in Kebbi State. In a statement issued by the Media Information Officer of the Joint Task Force Northwest Operation Fasten Yama, Lieutenant Colonel Abubakar Abdullahi Danja, the troops acted on credible intelligence to carry out a carefully planned operation on a secluded compound allegedly used by the suspect to evade security detection. Troops recovered 5 locally fabricated AK-47 rifles and arrested 2 persons. Lieutenant Colonel Danja added that the arrested suspects are currently in military custody undergoing military interrogation, while investigations have commenced to identify and apprehend other members of the syndicates. uncover their financiers and collaborators, and completely dismantle the illegal arms supply network. Now, still talking security matters, President Bola Tinubu has cautioned media practitioners against amplifying the voices of terrorists and other criminal groups, warning that unverified reports, disinformation, and misinformation could undermine national security. Speaking at the maiden annual presidential press corps dinner in Abuja on Thursday, the president urged journalists to uphold the ethics of the profession by reporting accurately and responsibly, stressing that while press freedom remains a cornerstone of democracy, it must be exercised with a strong sense of responsibility. He expressed concern over the growing spread of fake news and digital manipulation, urging the media to choose facts over falsehood, credibility over sensationalism, and avoid becoming willing couriers of information capable of threatening national peace and security. Speaking on the security situation in the country, President Tinubu said intensified military operations, improved intelligence gathering, stronger interagency collaborations, and expanded regional cooperation have led to the neutralization of thousands of terrorists and other criminal elements, the rescue of numerous hostages, and the recovery of communities previously under threat. The president acknowledged that security challenges remain, but assured Nigerians that his administration is steadily degrading criminal networks and remains committed to securing every part of the country. President Tinubu reaffirmed his administration's commitment to protecting press freedom and freedom of expression, while calling for a stronger partnership between government and the media in promoting truth, accountability, and national development. And now the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, has declared that the achievements of the administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu remain unmatched in Nigeria's recent historic history, urging members of the City Boys movement to intensify efforts in communicating the administration's landmark accomplishments to Nigerians. While receiving members of the City Boys movement, led by its Director General Oluwatosin Shoga on Thursday, in Abuja, the SGF noted that despite inheriting enormous economic challenges, the Tinubu administration has recorded unprecedented achievements within a short period in line with its renewed hope agenda. According to him, several road projects abandoned for many years, including sections of the Abuja-Kaduna corridor, have now been completed, while numerous roads, universities, schools, power projects, and dams across the 6 geopolitical zones are awaiting commissioning. The SGF described the Tinubu administration as one that has delivered unprecedented reforms with a short period, citing the rebuilding of the Nigerian foreign reserve from near depletion to almost $50 billion as one of the administration's landmark achievements. He further tasked members of the City Boy movement to intensify grassroots sensitization campaign by taking President Tinubu's scorecard directly to the grassroots across the nation. And to some education stories, the Academic Staff Union of University in Lagos State has threatened a total shutdown of academic activities if the state's government failed to implement the FGN ASU 2025 agreement in the state-owned university. The zonal coordinator, ASU Lagos Zone, Adesholo Nasir, made this known Thursday while briefing journalists, describing the non-implementation of agreements as insensitive on the part of the government. He appealed to the governor of Lagos, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, to intervene promptly to avoid industrial action.
The Academic Staff Union of Universities, chanting solidarity songs, they called on Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu to implement the federal government ASU 2025 agreement in the 3 universities owned by the state government, which include Lagos State University LASU, Lagos State University of Education, and the Lagos State University of Science and Technology.
Non-implementation of the agreement being experienced by our members in these 3 universities has left academic staff in this university feeling neglected undervalued and increasingly uncertain about government's commitment to their welfare.
The zonal coordinator, ASU Lagos Zone, Adeshola Nasiru, said the union had written to the state government through their various vice-chancellors, but no favorable response was received from the authorities concerned, hence leaving the union members with no other option than to proceed on an indefinite strike.
To count states where the university is shut down on account of non-implementation, it's going to be difficult for Lagos State to have any meaningful reason why it is part of those states. And this is why we think Lagos State should please give us a clean bill of health in Lagos Zone.
The union members further explained that federal universities across the country have implemented the 2025 agreement. Shola Taiwo, AIT News, Lagos.
Now, in a related development, the Bauchi zone of ASU has warned of a looming industrial crisis in public universities over the failure of some state governments to implement the 2025 federal government ASU agreement. Addressing journalists at the Gombe State University, the union called on the Gombe and Plateau state governments to urgently implement the agreement to avert disruption of academic activities.
The Academic Staff Union and Universities Bauchi Zone says despite the signing of the 2025 agreement with the federal government and the subsequent unveiling for implementation, many state-owned universities are yet to benefit from its provisions.
By May 2026, both the state and the federal government have not shown any serious commitment to implementing this agreement.
The union noted that while the federal government has commenced implementation of the salary component of the agreement and established an implementation monitoring committee, several state governments are yet to take similar steps. According to the zonal coordinator of ASU Bauchi Zone, Comrade Timothy Akonamo, assessment by the Union National Executive Council revealed that only Saadu Zongo University in Bauchi State and Ekiti State University have subsequently implemented the agreement among the affiliate state universities. He expressed concern that universities such as Gombe State University and Plateau State University are yet to commence implementation, a situation he says has continued to worsen the welfare of academic staff.
A couple of days you hear, we will review the situation and NEC may be reconvened, and then we will take the next line of action.
The union also appealed to parents, traditional rulers, religious leaders, the media, and other stakeholders to prevail on the affected state unit governments to address the outstanding issues before they escalate. ASU maintains that resolving the concerns will help sustain industrial harmony and protect the stability of the Nigerian public university system. Chike Udempo, AIT News, Gombe.
Still on the federal government ASU agreement, the Academic Staff Union of University Rivers State Chapter and the Ignatius Ajuru University of Education branches have called on the Rivers State government to domesticate and commence the implementation of the 2025 federal government ASU agreement in the interest of industrial harmony. The chairperson of ASU Rivers State University branch, Emmanuel Davis, stated this during a press briefing in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital.
The implementation of the 2025 Federal Government of Nigeria ASU Agreement embodies nationally accepted standards for improving university education, staff welfare, governance, and institutional stability across all public universities in Nigeria. It has been 7 months since the agreement was reached, but the Rivers State government is yet to domesticate and commence its implementation at the Rivers State University, ROSU, and Ignatius Ajuru University of Education.
We therefore call on the Rivers State government to urgently implement the 2025 Federal Government ASU Agreement for Rivers State University and Ignatius Ajuru University of Education in the interest of industrial harmony, quality education delivery, and the preservation of academic standards.
ASU also used the media to draw the attention of the Rivers State government and the people of Rivers State to the great challenges confronting the state-owned universities.
Adequate funding of ROSU and IEA. The chronic underfunding of our universities has continued to negatively affect teaching, research, innovation, accreditation, and infrastructural development. We therefore call on the Rivers State government to substantially improve funding to Rivers State University and Ignatius Ajuru University of Education to enable them compete favorably with their counterparts nationally and globally.
ASUU Rivers State University and Ignatius Ajuru University of Education said they remain committed to dialogue, constructive engagement, and peaceful resolution to all issues affecting the universities. Egogon Akabue, AIT News, Port Harcourt.
Now, the federal government has expressed delight over the suspension of the teachers' strike in Oyo State, describing the development as a major victory for dialogue, collaboration, and the education of Nigerian children. The Minister of Education, Tunji Alausa, in a statement signed by the Director Press, Boriowo Folashade, said that the resolution followed sustained engagement and constructive collaboration among the Federal Ministry of Education, the Oyo State government, and the leadership of the Nigerian Union of Teachers, NUT, at the national, zonal, and state levels, paving the way for teachers to return to classrooms and restoring uninterrupted learning across the state. The minister said the successful resolution reflects the collective commitment of all stakeholders to place the interest, safety, and future of learners above every other consideration. Alausa expressed gratitude to the leadership of the National Union of Teachers, and praised the members of its executive for demonstrating statesmanship and putting the interest of learners first in reaching an amicable resolution. The minister reaffirmed the federal government's unwavering commitment to ensuring that every Nigerian child enjoys uninterrupted access to quality education despite the security challenges confronting parts of the country. The minister assured that the Tinubu administration remains resolute in confronting insecurity with every available resources and ensuring that schools will continue to serve as safe places for teaching and learning. Now, members of the Association of Resident Doctors at the Benue State University Teaching Hospital, BSOTS, Makurdi, have called on the Benue State government to implement the Memorandum of Understanding signed with them in February, warning that failure to do so could lead to industrial action. Addressing journalists in Makurdi, president of the association, Kawen Pedodo, said most of the key issues that prompted the doctors' strike in December last year remain unresolved despite the agreement reached with government.
The Resident Doctors Association listed the unresolved issues to include the non-remittance of pension deductions, with some doctors owed over 3 years' pension contributions, excessive taxation, and the failure to review the entry point for resident doctors and CONMES to attract and retain medical personnel at the Benue State University Teaching Hospital.
Time of this release, some have accumulated pension arrears of more than 3 years. We hereby demand to know the whereabouts of those funds being deducted every month from our members.
Pedido also cited delays in the payment of medical residency training fund and the poor condition of doctors' quarters, describing them as major challenges affecting the residency program.
Doctors' quarters in BSUD has been in a state of disrepair, and we have been requesting for a comprehensive renovation since last year, but this is yet to happen.
The ARD president further urged the state government to implement the new federal government circular approving improved salaries, teaching allowances, and call duty allowances for medical doctors, noting that several states have already complied.
Considered will definitely resort to an industrial action. As a matter of fact, my Congress held a week ago, and the Congress voted unanimously for strike to commence that same day. That's last week, Monday. But I had to intervene. I appealed to the Congress to give us some time to stay engaged with government and see what comes out of it.
Pedido appealed to Governor Hyacinth Alia to address the outstanding issues and save the hospital from further manpower loss. Dofan Aga, AIT News, Makurdi.
And now a federal high court in Abuja has upheld the leadership of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, on the former Senate President David Mark, dismissing a suit that challenged the party's current leadership structure. The court ruled that the case lacked merit and affirmed the validity of the party's leadership transition. Delivering judgment, Justice Musa Liman upheld the preliminary objections raised by the ADC, its former national chairman, Ralph Nwosu, David Mark, and National Secretary Rauf Aregbesola. The judge ruled that the matter concerned the internal affairs of a political party, an area outside the court's jurisdiction, and found that the plaintiff House of Representatives member, Leke Abejide, failed to establish the legal standing required to pursue the case. The court also held that Abejide approached the legal institution without first exhausting the party's internal dispute resolution process. Justice Liman further ruled that Nwosu's transfer of leadership authority complied with the ADC's constitution and that the July 2nd, 2025 stakeholders meeting validly preceded the July 29, 2025 National Executive Committee meeting where David Mark and Aregbesola were formally ratified under the supervision of the Independent National Electoral Commission. Justice Liman concluded that the leadership transition complied with both the ADC Constitution and the Electoral Act 2026. The court awarded 2 million naira in costs against Abejide in favor of each defendant and further directed his lawyer to pay an additional 10 million naira in costs in line with the provisions of the Electoral Act 2026. And now the opposition African Democratic Congress, ADC, has applauded the judgment of the Federal High Court over the leadership disputes within the party, describing the ruling as a decisive affirmation of Senator David Mark's position as national leader. The party said the decision effectively ended the legal challenge initiated by Honorable Leke Abejide, adding that it would now concentrate on offering solutions to Nigeria's pressing economic and security concerns. Reacting through a statement, the National Publicity Secretary of the ADC, Bolaji Abdullahi, said the court dismissed Abejide's suit and upheld the legitimacy of the party's current leadership. The party's national spokesperson said that Justice Liman ruled that the matter was outside the jurisdiction of the court because it concerned the internal affairs of a political party, saying that the judgment validated the emergence of Senator David Mark and the National Working Committee, NWC. Abdullahi called on the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to recognize them as the party's duly elected national officers and also impose financial penalties on the plaintiff and his legal representatives. The party described the court's decision as a significant boost for Nigeria's multi-party democratic system and expressed hope that it would permanently resolve the leadership controversy. ADC said it is expected that the judgment should bring an end to what it called unnecessary litigation and attempts to undermine opposition parties through judicial process in order to allow the opposition focus on people-oriented matters. Now, proceedings in the 10 billion naira fundamental rights suit filed by Nollywood actor Emeka Ike against the Independent National Electoral Commission and Larry Olayinka has been postponed by the Federal High Court in Abuja until July 22. The case came before Justice S.O. Ibrahim on Thursday during proceedings. Counsel for the claimant informed the court that the first respondent had filed and served a response to the originating process. They further told the court that hearing notices had been delivered to both respondents, but noted that INEC listed as the second respondent was not represented in court. He therefore requested an adjournment to allow the Electoral Commission an opportunity to appear. Counsel for the first respondent, Akpama Ekwe, did not oppose the request for adjournment, although he indicated readiness to proceed with the hearing. The claimant's counsel also disclosed plans to file a reply to the counter affidavits submitted by the first respondent between Thursday and Friday. In his ruling, Justice Ibrahim granted a brief adjournment stating that fairness required giving INEC a chance to participate in the proceedings. Although Ekwe urged the court to proceed with substantive hearing, arguing that INEC could not be forced to attend, the judge insisted that a short delay was necessary to preserve fair hearing. The matter was then adjourned to July 22nd for further mention, as the court described that INEC be served with fresh hearing notices along with all relevant court processes before the next date. The disputes arose after allegations surfaced that Ike's voter registration records were exposed without authorization on Olayinka's verified X account. The controversy followed the circulation of screenshots allegedly showing the transfer of the actor's voter registration from Imo State to the Federal Capital Territory. Ike alleges that the information was published without his approval and claims that it was obtained through unauthorized access to restricted INEC administrative platform. In this suit, the actor is demanding 10 billion naira in damages over the alleged violation of his privacy rights. He is also asking the court to compel the removal of the disputed social media posts and order a public apology. INEC, however, has maintained that its database was not hacked, insisting that the incident resulted from the improper use of valid internet access credentials rather than any breach of its servers. And now, Eleme local government authorities have raised alarm over what it describes as an invasion and encroachment of land grabbers into the ancestral lands of Eleme people. The action, which they said is taking place along the Woji Aleto-Alesa Link Road and the Agbonicha-Akabajo axis of the Port Harcourt Ring Road, has become a source of concern due to the security threats it poses to residents and people of Eleme.
The incident, which calls for an urgent intervention due to the communal clashes that are likely to arise as a result of the unprovoked attacks on Eleme communities by the alleged land-grabbing syndicate, has prompted the council chairman, who doubles as the chief security officer of the LGA, to convey the ordeals of Eleme people through a media briefing. The chairman, while calling on relevant authorities to wade in and forestall a breakdown of law and order, said farmers in the LGA are now compelled to pay illegal levies in order to access their farmlands.
It has become evident that land grabbers, working in collaboration with some real estate developers, armed by armed thugs, mercenaries, have continued to invade our ancestral lands with impunity. These criminal elements terrorize innocent women, youths, and farmers. We call upon all security agencies, particularly the Commissioner of Police, Rivers State Command, to immediately commence a comprehensive investigation into these criminal activities with a view to restoring law and order, protecting innocent citizens, and preventing any breakdown of peace.
Obarilo Mate Olo said, as a way of de-escalating the tension in the area, that his administration has signed an executive order suspending the activities of real estate developers in Eleme local government area.
As a responsible government, we have constitutional obligation to protect the lives and property of every resident of Eleme and uphold law and order and peaceful coexistence. I have signed an executive order suspending all real estate activities within Eleme local government area pending a comprehensive review and verification process.
The chairman further clarified that the area in question has already been gazetted with a white paper report of Honorable Justice Charles Granville, Judicial Commission of Inquiry into the Eleme Ogu Okrika communal conflict, and the 1957 Supreme Court judgment, which validates the ownership of the land in question by the people of Eleme. Akaha Nsirim, AIT News, Port Harcourt.
And our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has directed the immediate expansion of road infrastructure to long-forgotten communities in the Federal Capital Territory, pledging his administration's commitment to ending abandoned projects in the nation's capital. The directive came on Thursday during the commissioning of the rehabilitated 16-kilometer Old Kefi Road linking Kado Fish Market to Deide Junction through Life Camp. The president also approved the construction of the Kabakagini-Zaudana Road after residents drew attention to poor access roads in their areas.
This is the rehabilitated 16-kilometer Old Kefi Road, stretching from Kado Fish Market through key commercial hubs to the Deide Junction. Senate President Godswill Akpabio, who represented President Bola Tinubu, commissioned the project.
A road maintained by each community lasts for a generation. A road abused by each community dies early. The choice is ours. We are building for inclusion, for safety, and for growth. Every district deserves access. Every citizen deserves to feel the impact of my administration.
Moments earlier, the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike acknowledged appeals from residents of undeserved communities and conveyed the President's directive for the provision of road infrastructure to the Kaba-Kagini-Zauda road.
I saw people carrying a banner showing how bad the road or their road is. Today again, they have come here with that banner. So let me invite you, come. As it links to roads where there will be connectivity, where you go back and go to your farms and produce whatever you have. I have told the Executive Secretary, ESFCDA, I have told him to tell Lubrix to immediately move to this area and do the road for you.
Thursday's inauguration brings the total number of commissioned projects to 17, with more expected in the coming days. Chukwabuka Obodo, AIT News, Abuja.
You're also watching AIT Reports. We take a short break and return with more reports. Stay tuned.
The stories now break online. Don't miss anything from our real-time updates and exclusive content. Follow and participate in discussions on live TV studio programs to shape the narratives. Subscribe, engage, and share from AIT.live at AIT_online on X, AIT Online on Facebook, Official AIT Live on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads, AIT_live, and AIT Livestream 1 on YouTube. Stay connected with AIT. On air, online, on live.
Thanks for staying tuned. You're still watching AIT Report, and we go to more stories. Every day, hundreds of commuters now choose the waterways over the Calabar-Itu Road, drawn by the promise of the faster and lesser stress journey. But the passenger traffic continues to grow. One critical question emerges. These waterways are truly ready for the increasing number of people who now depend on them. Our reporter investigates in this special report.
The waterfronts are no longer just an alternative means of transportation. They have become a vital link connecting Cross River with neighboring communities and states, carrying workers, traders, students, and families seeking to avoid the challenges of road travel. For many commuters, the choice is simple: save time, avoid traffic, and arrive at their destination sooner.
Right now, I'm in emergency. I have to use water, which I know that at least in less than about 45 minutes or so I'll be there.
But beyond the speed and convenience lies a growing concern. As more passengers embrace water transportation, questions about security continue to shape conversations along the waterfront.
What I can advise the government is that they should put more security, especially in the evening, because the morning like this, everywhere is calm, but in the evening, sometimes the government that is there, some of them will leave by 6. While some people are still coming to Calabar, or some people are still going to around.
Boat operators share similar concerns. While describing the waterways as largely safe during the day, some recount frightening encounters that have changed the way they work.
I faced a lot of challenge by militants and what I have run there collected me my boat.
Incidents like these partly explain why commercial boat operations end by 5 p.m. While some operators say the restriction affects business, the Cross River State government insists the policy is designed to protect lives.
The state government have bought some gunboat for Nigerian Navy just to straighten the waterways. And we have a houseboat, a Navy houseboat, positioned between Bakassi.
Now, it's day 18 of the commissioning of roads to renewed hope cities and estates in Karsarna, that's in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. So the news that will continue on our News 24 platform. Now, what if every building in Nigeria had a unique digital address that emergency responders, security agencies, and delivery services could easily locate? That vision is moving closer to reality as key government officials and stakeholders gathered to make Nigeria's national digital alphanumeric postcode system for ministries, departments, and agencies a reality. The Postmaster General of the Federation, Tola Odeyemi, says the initiative, when fully operational, will create a one-stop identification hub for all citizens, making people-centered services for efficient.
The initiative is designed to assign every addressable location in Nigeria a unique GIS-enabled alphanumeric code. The workshop focused on integrating the new digital postcode system into government operations, making location identification more accurate, efficient, and secure. Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Bosun Tijani, described the digital postcode as a critical layer of Nigeria's digital public infrastructure.
Our shared commitment to building a digitally connected Nigeria where governance is smarter, public services are more efficient, businesses thrive, and every citizen can be accurately identified and served regardless of location.
NIPOST Postmaster General Tola Odeyemi emphasized that the success of the initiative will largely depend on widespread adoption across public institutions, stressing that the system will provide trusted location intelligence for security, public safety, and national development.
What we're referring to, we're talking about healthcare reaching the right communities. We're talking about social protection programs reaching the right beneficiaries. We're talking about better planning, better statistics, better emergency response, better infrastructure development, and ultimately better outcomes for citizens.
With the first phase of implementation expected to roll out later this year, speakers at the meeting, cutting across MDAs, highlighted the importance of a unique postcode in the ever-evolving digital space, helping to build solutions across board.
The postcode can identify down to your home entrance, what people locally call domot.
The operationalization of the Nigerian digital postcode is a strategic initiative that has potential to significantly improve the public administration service delivery.
The National Digital Alphanumeric Postcode System is set to transform how Nigerians are located, connected, and served, marking a significant milestone in the country's digital transformation journey. Roluke Ogundele, AIT News, Abuja.
President Bola Tinubu has commissioned the largest lithium processing plant in West Africa in Nasarawa State. The facility is expected to boost investor confidence and strengthen Nigeria's solid minerals sector. Represented by the Vice President, Kashim Shettima, President Tinubu said the plant has a processing capacity of 6,000 tons per day and will drive investment in the mining sector. And now the federal government says Nigeria is on the verge of eliminating trachoma as a public health concern, with only 11 local government areas yet to complete interventions. At the Accelerate Trachoma Elimination Program learning event organized by Sight Savers Nigeria in Abuja, the federal government said 87% of trachoma has been eliminated, with over 90% of surgeries completed.
The federal government says just 11 of the 774 local government areas across the country are yet to achieve trachoma elimination target, with activities in 8 of them delayed due to insecurity. Authorities say the progress reflects sustained effort by government and development partners to combat the neglected tropical disease and prevent avoidable blindness.
We have gone a long way as far as elimination trachoma is concerned. We've got more than 87% success towards eliminating trachoma so far. We just have about 11 LGAs that are yet to achieve elimination. Insecurity is a big challenge, and it cuts across these LGAs.
We've also distributed 22 million, almost 29 million treatments with azithromycin across the years to prevent sight loss. We have also trained over 25 trichiasis surgeons and also provided quality retrainings for them to ensure that their skills are being maintained.
They, however, stressed that maintaining proper environmental and personal hygiene remains critical to completely eliminating trachoma, asking Nigerians to embrace regular face washing, proper sanitation, and clean surroundings as part of effort to stop the spread of the disease.
Given the drugs alone cannot do the magic for you, so you make sure people they have safe water, they use the toilet regularly, wash their hands regularly, so that once their environment is clean, I'm not sure this disease, you experience this disease. Because even in Europe, like in UK had trachoma before. What they had to do is make sure they instituted wash, and it disappeared.
The government reaffirmed its commitment to reaching the remaining affected communities despite security challenges. Onoshorena Obozege, AIT News, Abuja.
The Bayelsa State Governor, Senator Doye Diri, is urging the South-South Development Commission to implement its mandate in line with the acts establishing the commission, particularly to ensure the delivery of critical infrastructure across the region. Speaking during a courtesy visit of a delegation of the commission led by its Managing Director and Chief Executive Osoro Akpabio at the Government House in Yenagoa, the governor tasked them to partner with the state in the infrastructure development in the South-South region.
The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the South-South Development Commission, accompanied by members of the Commission, is at Creekhaven to seek collaboration with the Bayelsa State Government as part of efforts to promote sustainable development and accelerate infrastructure delivery across the South-South region.
We are particularly interested in engaging with your administration on strategic areas where SSDC can support and complement Bayelsa State's development agenda. Our objective is to gain a deeper understanding of the state's priorities, identify opportunities for collaboration, and ensure that the SSDC's interventions are fully aligned with your administration's vision for growth and development.
We'll liaise with you constantly. We'll seek to complement your efforts, to partner with you, and to seek advice, because the governors of the states are the repository of the mandates for our people.
Doye charges the Commission to justify the confidence reposed in it by delivering on its mandate. He also emphasizes the need for continuous consultation with state governments to ensure projects reflect the developmental priorities of each state.
Your Commission has been entrusted with strategic mandates to drive the sustainable development, working in tandem with the state government and other agencies. I think all we need today to do is to ask ourselves, are we truly ready to develop this region? And all of us that have the opportunity to be in this commission, what do you owe to this region and to the states? I'm saying this so that we can work together, so that you also already know what job you are coming to do, and the state governments, what job they have already done.
The South-South Development Commission was established on March 25, 2025, following the signing of its Enabling Act by President Bola Tinubu, with the responsibility of driving infrastructure development and addressing the unique developmental challenges of the South-South region. Onisofin Owe, AIT News, Yenagoa.
The federal government says 3 additional evacuation flights will be in operation in the coming days to bring home about 700 more Nigerians who voluntarily registered, screened, and cleared for evacuation. The next batch, comprising 271 returnees, is expected to arrive in Lagos at 5:30 a.m. on Friday, July 3rd, 2026. The federal government also dismissed allegations that officials of the Nigerian mission in South Africa demanded money from citizens seeking evacuation. It stressed that all special evacuation flights are fully funded by the government and are completely free for returnees, describing the claims as false and misleading. The ministry commended the cooperation of relevant ministries, departments, and agencies in the evacuation exercise, noting that the operation reflects Nigeria's commitment to safeguarding its citizens overseas and ensuring that Nigerians affected by a crisis receive timely support, dignity, and care. And now President Bola Tinubu says Nigeria remains committed to supporting the vision of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, for regional integration, peace, and economic cooperation. The president stated this during the official commissioning of the new ECOWAS Commission headquarters in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. AIT's Iseme Ozekome has more.
Rising prominently along the Abuja Airport Road, a new symbol of national unity now stands in Abuja's capital, known as the Eye of West Africa. Built on 7 hectares of land, the new headquarters complex of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has been officially commissioned in Abuja under the leadership of Julius Maada Bio, chairman of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of States and Governments. The commissioning marks a major milestone for the regional bloc, following the formal handover of the facility by the government of the People's Republic of China in April this year. President Bio described the new headquarters as more than steel, glass, and concrete.
It is therefore our collective responsibility to ensure that this headquarters become a true center of excellence, one that drives innovation, fosters collaboration, and delivers tangible benefits to the people of our region.
Representing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the ceremony, Vice President Kashim Shettima reaffirmed Nigeria's commitment to ECOWAS.
We must deepen our industrialization, fortify our regional value chains, expand our intra-regional trade, and open the doors of innovation, manufacturing, and investment to our young people.
China's ambassador to Nigeria also reaffirmed Benji's commitment to its partnership with the region.
May this marvelous edifice serve as a new dawn for West Africa's peace, unity, and prosperity.
For the ECOWAS Commission's president, this is more than the commissioning of a building. It is the unveiling of a new center of regional democracy.
This new headquarters building is therefore the permanent home of our shared vision, collective ambition, and enduring commitment to regional integration and prosperity.
With this facility now operational, ECOWAS is expected to strengthen its capacity for regional decision-making, diplomacy, and integration across West Africa. The headquarters is expected to serve as a central hub for policy coordination with member states looking forward to the Commission for stronger delivery in the years ahead. Iseme Ozekome, AIT News, Abuja.
The Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, says it will continue to play a critical role that will help shape the boy-child in the Niger Delta region. The managing director of the NDDC, Samuel Ogbuku, stated this during the celebration of the 2026 International Day of the Boy-Child in Port Harcourt. AIT's Chibuchichuku reports that the theme of the celebration is Flourish and Thrive, investing in the boy for the stronger families and communities.
The International Day of the Boy Child is observed annually on May 16th to highlight the need for intentional guidance, positive mentorship, and safe emotional space for boys to reduce cycles of violence and foster emotional healthy men. In celebration of the International Day of the Boy Child in Port Harcourt, the managing director of the NDDC, Samuel Ogbuku, says the Commission is committed to promoting policies and programs that will enhance their well-being.
The Boy Child celebration is all about mentoring our boy child to be a good, responsible fathers, responsible leaders in the future.
Speakers at the event urged the boy child of the Niger Delta region to shun drug abuse and social vices and pursue a career that would impact on their families and the nation.
The man that you want to be in the future will be determined by the way you live as a boy now. So we need to be very intentional about how we nurture ourselves into our future.
We will keep advocating, encouraging them about who they are and what they can become and exactly what we expect from them in the society.
Highlight of the event was presentation of school bus to some selected secondary school students within Port Harcourt. Chibuchi Chukwu, AIT News, Port Harcourt.
And up next is Sports Track. Welcome to Sports Track. The race for a place in the FIFA World Cup round of 16 is intensifying, and for Africa, the margin for error has all but disappeared. With 7 of the continent representatives already out of the tournament, the spotlight now turns to Egypt, Ghana and Cape Verde as they carry Africa's hopes into decisive round of 32 encounter. Here is more. The FIFA World Cup has entered a defining moment. Algeria became the latest team from the continent to bow out after suffering a 2-0 defeat to Switzerland, reducing Africa's remaining hopes to 3 nations. Now, attention shifts to a pivotal round of fixtures. Egypt faced Australia in a must-win clash as they seek a place in the round of 16. Cape Verde, meanwhile, faced perhaps their biggest test yet, taking on reigning world champions Argentina, with a historic round of 16 berth within reach. Ghana also have everything to play for as they battle Colombia in a winner-takes-all encounter. Elsewhere, Portugal secured their passage to the round of 16 with a 2-1 comeback victory over Croatia. Ivan Perisic opened the scoring for Croatia before Cristiano Ronaldo leveled the contest and Gonzalo Ramos completed the turnaround with a decisive goal. Spain also advanced in convincing fashion, defeating Austria 3-0. Mikel Oyarzabal starred with 2 goals as the La Roya sealed their place in the knockout rounds. As the group stage reaches its climax, Africa's hopes now rest on Egypt, Ghana and Cape Verde to keep the continent's World Cup dream alive. And our former Nigerian Football Federation board member, Pinta Singabele, has been appointed chairman of a 5-man committee to oversee the affairs of Bayelsa United Football Club. The Deputy Governor, Peter Akpe, announced the announcement during Thursday's weekly prosperity walk at the Samson Siasia Stadium in Yenagoa. Akpe said the committee is tasked with repositioning the club and securing its return to the Nigeria Premier Football League following its relegation last season.
We had set up an interim management team for Bayelsa United. Now that team will work for the next 6 months to ensure that we bring Bayelsa United out of relegation and into the Premiership level that it had always been, which is the right position for Bayelsa United. We would also say that all of us are part of this developmental stride, and we should give them all the encouragement that is necessary. We also call on private supporters, private partners to come into sports, especially Bayelsa United, to see how the funding could be eased out of government.
Of the committee have Braveman Wodi, Godson Ekade Ono Akpe, while Ekpolodai Odogo will serve as secretary. Now, the Nigerian Shooting Sports Federation is intensifying efforts to develop the sports in the country through closer collaboration with key stakeholders. As part of that drive, members of the Federation's board paid a courtesy visit to the Inspector General of Police, Tunji Disu, to discuss issues critical to the growth and regulation of shooting sports in Nigeria. Top of the agenda were discussions on the licensing of sporting firearms, tackling the proliferation of illegal small arms and light weapons, and ensuring that Nigerian shooting sports complies with the rules and safety standards of the International Shooting Sports Federation, ISSF.
But while the response to the military is different, that of the police is essential, because beyond participating in the shootings, the police plays a pivotal role in issuance of license to firearms. And also the police is the custodian of law enforcement across board.
I want to plead that whenever you want to do any training that have to do with this, please include us. It would be nice for all of us to have joint training so that we have a standard. The weapon we are holding are lethal and could cause the death of anybody who mishandles it. So we need to have standards. So we'll be doing the same thing on the field. On the issue of licensing, we have procedures, and you mentioned it. The age is important, good eyesight, the character, and then finally vetting of the person.
Very good office snack. They call it kolo, it's a tradition. I was in Ethiopia as a defense attaché, so I got a little habit of loving those things, and I thought I should share it.
Now, in recognition of his support for the development of our shooting sports, the Inspector General Tunji Desu was formally unveiled as the patron of the Nigerian Shooting Sports Federation. The federation believes that the partnership will enhance athlete development, improve regulatory compliance, and position Nigeria for greater success at international shooting sports competitions. And now Nigeria's Taiwo Agbaje has vowed to make a strong statement when he defends his World Boxing Association WBA Africa title against South Africa's Ayabonga on July 31st in Lagos. Agbaje said victory over the South African will be his way of avenging the psychological and emotional trauma suffered by victims of xenophobic attacks in South Africa.
Yes, I'm taking revenge from South Africa because what I'm seeing on social media, what South Africa was doing for Nigeria and other Africa, I'm not happy. So now the revenge is coming. I'm going to stop the guy from 4 rounds. It's going to be a knockdown.
Agbaje, Eshepo, the fans' favorite. I think he just won the award now for the fans' favorite. As far as I'm concerned, I think Taiwo is one of the best boxers we have here in Africa. I think Taiwo is going to go on to become a world champion. And he's actually going to do us a world of good. What better way for us? As we all know, there's been tension between Nigeria and South Africa for a while now. So Taiwo will be fighting a South African, not 10-on-1, not ganging up on us. We have a fighter, Sonjika, who will be fighting Taiwo Eshepo 1-on-1 in the ring.
The fight card will also feature 2 celebrity exhibition bouts. Popular actor Charles Okocha will face Habib Possible Badmouth in a grudge rematch, while Victor Okafor, popularly known as Mysterio, will take on rapper Adekunle Idowu as both settle a long-running social media rivalry.
Say less, bro, you know what I'm saying? Like they say, real champions don't make noise, you know what I'm saying? So we out here for the face-off, we out here for whatever it is we're out here for. This in the ring.
You're going to see magic, because it's going to be magical. You know what I mean? You're going to see power. You're going to see stamina. Careful, boy. Be careful, boy. Careful.
The event, tagged Chaos in the Ring 4, is designed to provide a platform for homegrown boxers to showcase their talents on the global stage. And that's Sports Track, and that's equally our beat on AIT Reports. Many thanks for watching. I am Lai Lawal. Good afternoon.